It looks like the major media is talking about global economic problems now. The major media. And one thing that's obvious, though, is that when they're talking about, and it has been happening, when they're talking about backing off quantitative easing, that it's been hitting the emerging markets hard, all the way across the board. Because nobody's buying from them now. Everybody, see, the easy money's disappearing, so everybody's trying to hoard cash. And actually, the only ones that got the cash are the ones that get the largest players in the United States, because quantitative easing means they're buying up all the troubled assets and taking them off the hands of the balance sheets of anything. In other words, you got a company and the only one thing is doing bad. Take this off of my hands at a good price, Federal Reserve. Oh, you hooked me up. Basically, that's what they're doing. So, anyway, it looks like, they're trying to say that the QE sugar high, nobody has actually prepped a long time for it. But the thing is, in other words, they got the high, they got the sugar high, but they didn't make the adjustments for the long term. They're saying that right now. But the thing is, actually, that never was a fix, and everybody knows it wasn't a fix. So, oil you've seen going up a lot now, but that's not really because of, the QE or anything like that. That really is because of tensions going on in Syria. And that's an age-old principle, when there's tensions like in the Middle East, you'll see, oil-producing countries, you'll see oil start moving up. Usually. There's always tensions going on in the Middle East, but when you get some more extraordinary tensions going on, then oil starts moving up. And then you see gold move up because people get more fearful. So, the thing I was mentioning yesterday was about the budget fights. That's going to be coming up pretty soon. And there's some hardcore inner circle Republicans that wanted to defund the ObamaCare, which is actually, it's affordable health care, which is actually, it's a government control and a tax, really what the hell it is. It shouldn't be around. And actually, it would never be that high if it wasn't for the pharmaceutical meds that are pushed on people left and right and the ridiculous prices they charge for it, because doctors won't get into any kind of microelectrical medicine or anything like that. And I know there's limits on it, and there's a lot of BS in these freaking alternative fields to the max. It's like, but that's part of the crushing cost of what's coming on the economy is the healthcare cost. And the problem is, though, the conventional doctors do not adopt alternative medicine, partly because alternative medicine has a lot of misinformation, exaggerations, and cure-alls that don't work in a cure-all way. They're partial answers, and that's just how they ought to look at them. But, the other thing is, we got into, and this is actually part of the crushing effects on the economy, is the whole healthcare system, is, when Rockefeller and Carnegie moved to get everybody away from herbalism and microelectricity for healing. So, but that's another freaking major thing that's crushing the economy. So, because businesses are not going to hire people full time because of this affordable healthcare bullshit, basically. So, the numbers, even if they show up good right now, I think they're going to start getting bad again. In other words, the economic numbers that Bernanke's looking at for QE. So, he probably, even if he does taper right now, I think it's going to come back on full force, because it's going to cause the markets to probably pull back, plus the budget fights and all this other garbage. And the only thing that's looking good right now is probably the commodities. Like that inverse relationship we had before. Actually, gold is an inverse relationship to the Dow. Gold is like the metal that people go to when they're scared of the normal financial system. It's kind of what it is. I don't want to put it that way. It's not like you're scared, but that's usually what happens. They run out of the stocks and equities, and they run into gold and things like that. Usually there's pretty much an inverse relationship for it. Not perfect, but in general. So before we saw up to 2011, the markets weren't doing so hot, and the commodities were flying up, especially like gold and silver. Then the market started, it took the other turn. The Dow was going way up, and gold was dropping, and it's probably going to start changing direction now. You're going to see the opposite effect. It looks like now that my point is though, it looks like now that the major media is talking about major economic crises like we had in 2008, 2009 globally. So that was something Mark Farber, the one I always mention all the time, was alluding to. He says the next crisis is going to be even worse. Hey, and then you'll see your silver freaking fly up pretty high. It depends on it depends on a few things, and actually one of them is what's going on in the Middle East. Now, about platinum. Now, it's tough to say. Fundamentally, platinum should be a hell of a lot higher than it is right now. They're having major problems in South Africa. Like, I know they had the workers, they were machine gunned down by the police and all this type of stuff like that. And then they went on illegal strikes anyway, even after the strike was settled. And because of it must have some really appalling working conditions and low pay. So, you almost got to figure if there's people in South Africa and that area of the world that have a very high unemployment rate, are being worked so severely that they go on strike, that they get machine gunned to death, and then they go on strike again. How the hell do you think they're going to produce this metal even cheaper than that? Wall Street will say, whatever they're doing on the electronic exchange with the spot market, with their fake supply, they'll be driving the price down. But look at reality. What's going on with the actual market where they have to mine it? I can't see that. Platinum is, and you got to watch how you look at these statistics. Like, there's a lot of platinum in the earth. You could say, the platinum supply is this big. And the problem is you got to get it out of the ground, and it's tough to mine. It's very energy intensive to mine. It's in places in the world that don't have like infrastructure or poor infrastructure, and it requires a lot of energy, electricity, and fuel to get going. Like the other place for platinum and palladium, well, actually it's palladium in Norilsk mine in Northern Siberia. That's one of the most hostile areas of the world. Plus, it's so polluted that there isn't a single tree that grows within a 20-mile radius of that mine. They pay miners in that mine double wages, and they have trouble trying to get people in there to work. They used to get miners because it was gulag slave labor that mined palladium for the 1930s all the way through up until the collapse of the Soviet Union. That's why they have so much of a supply. That stuff should actually be worth more than platinum. So, these BS artists in the banking industry and stuff, it's like it's going to come to like, it really is going to come to that. Physical metals are going to be one thing, and electronic metals are going to be something else. But, I think there is going to be a reflection on the electronic market as to, the correct price. You're going to see the prices really start moving up now because of, and it looks like J.P. Morgan's long on silver. The 6 largest bullion banks are now long on gold. They were short on gold back in January of 2013. They're long on gold as of mid-May, net long on gold as of mid-May 2013. So they got their bets on too. The ones that are going to be Johnny-come-latelys into the metals market is probably going to be the middle class, and they're going to get screwed over. But, what can I tell you, right? These people, they're the ones that are telling everybody that's got silver and gold back when it was 18 a few weeks ago that it's going to 10, right? So, what can I say, right? What can I say? Does it look like it's going to go to 10 or $8 now? No, not really. Actually, to go from 18 to 8 or 10 is like 50% drop anyway, right? So, you think it's going to drop 50% after it already dropped over 50%? Anyway, a little common sense sometimes, but it may have this pullback again, like I said, at 26, but I don't know why. But like silver's a crazy animal. Anybody that tries to predict silver really accurately, you're going to screw up eventually for sure. There's no doubt about it. It's not been known as the devil's metal for no reason. It throws everybody off a loop. And like you give an example even with platinum. Sometimes, it'll drive up over a news story that they're having strikers in the mines and they get shot. Some of them get shot by the police, right? And then the metals go up way a lot in the market because of psychology. But nothing really fundamentally has changed there. It's like psychology. And then sometimes there's this big, big freaking sell-off because people need the cash. And they're selling what? Metals? Or no, they're selling electrons, right? They're selling electrons. Supposedly they're selling metals, but they're not really. And then, of course, the computers get in the background and they sell more. They even drive it down even more. So, but the way I look at it with this stuff with the markets, there's only so much manipulation they could do because it catches up with themselves. It's like they're so smart, they trap themselves. They're so smart, they outsmart themselves. So stick with the basics, stick with common sense. And it looks like the major media is talking about, big economic collapse coming up, That's probably true. And, I think that even if the numbers look good in the United States for economic numbers, as soon as affordable health care comes into being, or ObamaCare, which it is because the Republican establishment wants it along with the Democrats, there's only like some people pushing against it, but they'll lose like always, But that will cause a lot more unemployment in the United States because nobody that's a business is gonna want to freaking pay for all that stuff. And the way around it is alternative medicine, but you got to watch with that too because I could see it's not just that the doctors well, they do have a racket. They're professionals. They don't give, it's like they're really all about money. But there's so much misinformation, exaggerations, and outright BS lies in alternative medicine that when a doctor sees something like that, and even if he's honest and wants to look into it, it's like, he sees something that's garbage and he's turned off from the whole thing. So, that's part of the reason there too. So, it's not like one big great conspiracy a lot of times too. And that works like that with everything too. So anyway, looks like the modern global economy is in for a major adjustment period again, which may be worse than 2008, 2009. That does not necessarily mean the metals are going to crash. Yeah, my opinion is we've already seen a crash in the metals, and it's like a repeat from 2008, 2009, and now we're going to see the problems come up in the equities in other areas, maybe even real estate, because the real estate market has been really hot. But if the economy is not that hot, and you don't have the buyers out there because the economy's not that hot, even that market can collapse too. Because, we got really low interest rates. That's been helping the real estate market. You might see that freaking pull back too. I suspected that for a long time, and I think that's going to happen. Right now, it looks like the future is really bright for the metals going forward.